Good morning, everybody. It's me, Dixie Kong, of course, coming to you with your regularly scheduled Battle Royale programming. I'm exhausted. Oh my gosh. I'm so tired. I feel like I stayed up so late compared to where I usually go to bed. And it was all for Miss Aerith Gainsborough because our girl is booked and busy, and she was not available to talk shop until like not even that late my time, but like late for me. And I think this tribe is actually really funny. There's like a little bit of a running gag that we're basically the old tribe because we're slow and olds. Um, yeah, I am just exhausted today. And bad news, we're at tribal. Shocker. So I think I touched on this in my previous video about this swap, but we've basically got a tribe that is fantastic socially, but not that great in challenges. So basically, if you made me a tribe, it would be Gelmir. Social, but not too great at challenges. This vote is going to be a mess, y'all. Just to kind of summarize the challenge, we totally flopped. We didn't even score a single point out of the 8 rounds. And Ochette beasted. Ochette scored like 4 of the 5 points that her team scored before they basically were the winners by default because Lindell couldn't catch up. So yeah, that was a little camp. So yeah, buckle up. It's going to be a long swap, I think. And then I think it's kind of evil that we're doing a dissolve at some point because this is just going to be the longest swap of all time. And I think there's definitely a decent chance that we are the tribe that gets absorbed at some point just because there are really no challenge standouts on our tribe. Lendell has Daisy, and they have Symmetra, and they have Celestia even. Banjo's no slouch. And then Mogwin has Zero. They have Doomslayer, and they have Ochette. So, yeah, we have question mark Drybones. Like, was Drybones our best competitor in that challenge? Please. This is a sick joke. I mean, this is definitely a tribe where there are no good options. So I'm just kind of like, okay, let's see what happens. Just to briefly touch on Lendell, the other tribe that's going to be voting tonight. Looks like Carrie got a 150 key. I don't know if she slayed the monster or if she just somehow got a really good roll for her key value. But Sis bounced, which I think is actually really freaking dumb. No offense to her, but there's so many things like working for a person that's a solo. There's one on each tribe. So I'm the solo from Liurnia. Zero is the solo from Limgrave. And then Carrie is the solo from Caelid. And there are no solos from Altus Plateau. And so you would think that being in that solo OG tribe position, you would be able to really parlay the first round vote into a decent position. But by bouncing, I don't know if she panicked or if she really felt like she was in danger. But by bouncing, I feel like there's nothing but incentive for the 6 people that survive this upcoming Lendell vote to just agree that they have an easy vote and carry when they go back. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Additionally, Sailor, look at me, Sailor Iron Mouse decided to attend their tribal. So she'll be stealing one of their votes. So it's going to be a 6-person vote over there. Zag and Conquer seemed to think there's a decent chance that Nate is the one to go. So yeah, we'll see. I guess it could kind of be that dynamic if Banjo, Celeste, Daisy, and Girl as the duos come together against the three people from original Limgrave. Um, and apparently Nate isn't the most standout social star. I also kind of got a vibe that maybe he's not a big Daisy fan. I think Daisy's going to be a big player in this season, just based on things that I've heard. So yeah, I guess I would probably put my money on a Nate vote at the second tribal at Lendell. As for us, oh my gosh. Okay. So I'm going to bring up my little tier list that I've created. As you can see, these tiers are not ideal. They range from perfect, which is self-explanatory, to really great, to good, to okay, to pleasant and fine is the bottom of the barrel. So you can see there are really no fantastic options. It's been like threading a needle here. And I guess we're just going to have to see. I've definitely reconnected with Aerith. For better or worse, I think folks might see us as a duo, a package deal, given the fact that we're great friends outside of this. It's fine. I think she and I are definitely on the same page here. She's the one that I'm the most open with about kind of all of the information that I'm processing. And so we're kind of moving together as a unit here. She does come from Caelid with Spyro, so it's an interesting dynamic. I don't know if there was a solid. I would imagine there was some sort of solid alliance that was Ochette, Spyro, and Aerith on original Caelid. And I really love Spyro, so I want to work with him here because I've never gotten the chance to work with Spyro/Jay in games. We've just never had the stars align for us. So I'm really, really optimistic that we can make some magic happen here. But in terms of people that I'm moving with here, Aerith and I just have seemingly fallen into kind of a natural swing position. The only drawback is that Aerith has much better just work-life balance, for lack of a better way to describe commitment to these games. So, I mean, she's not the kind of person that's going to cancel plans on a Saturday night to sit around with a bunch of nerds and just discuss a Survivor vote. And I absolutely am. So, with Aerith not being around in the wake of the immunity challenge results, it felt a little bit stilted discussion wise. Aerith and I have really connected with Conquer and Zagreus. I'm just going to call Zag because I feel like his name, I want to say Zagreus, but it's spelled like Zeus with a Zagr. So is it Zagreus or is it Zagreus? I don't know. Comment in the comments. Give me your opinions. Like and subscribe. Anyway, I think Conquer, Zag, and not to, toot my own horn, but probably myself have been the social stars of the social star tribe. And so I think a lot of people are hoping to maybe sustain a working relationship with Conquer and Zag. And I'd like to think that folks want to work with me as well. And then I think that Zag and Conquer have maybe come into this tribe feeling a little bit like they need to make some magic happen. And so I think that they've maybe identified me as a key, and kind of, for better or worse, with me maybe comes Aerith, which I'm fine with because people are going to see us as a pair anyway based on our relationship outside of the game. So yeah, we have formed, all of that's to say, we've formed a four-person alliance. That alliance is called the Activists. And yeah, it's the four of us: Aerith, Conquer, Dixie, and Zag. I feel pretty good about it. I think that it's something that, we need to lock in for something sustainable here for the long run, just in anticipation of potentially being at a lot of tribals. And so to have a built-in 4 after this vote is going to be pretty huge. Conquer is somebody that I have probably the best banter with out of anybody here. We get along really well, which is kind of a surprise because I think I was a Conquer auntie during Vice City, but he's definitely such a great conversationalist, super charming. I think that he's a dangerous player, but I'd rather us be on the same page. I do really genuinely feel like I'm developing an affinity for Conquer as a person. And I'd like to think that he feels the same way about me. I know he's close with Leah, but I'm really trying to not consider outside relationships as the determining factor here. And I don't really... Leah's just a big question mark for me. Maybe that's kind of the genius of Lara Croft in planting those seeds before she left, but all of that is to say that Conquer is also another perfect for me. So we're too deep in this, and there's no really great or below. Definitely want to work with Conquer. I think that Conquer and Zag are down to vote out Crash, who is the other Limgrave here, and I feel bad because I actually really like Crash. I would say that all things being neutralized, I like Jamie / Quilava a lot as a human, but he's just not giving me kind of what I need here in terms of social just connections. Let's see, I'm going to try and maybe see if I can show y'all what I'm talking about. But just this conversation here is our conversation history. And it's pleasant, but it's a lot of maybe not substantial stuff. So I feel like I'll get into this more with Spyro, but they were talking about, Conquer messaged me. They were talking about drinking wine last night, which they know I like to do. Talking about standing Wesley from Eurovivor, which is camp. But I think that the best example of kind of Quilava and I, if I come up, so here he's like, they're like peppering in like, Jay and I aren't close, which is like, I get it, but it's a little bit transparent because I know that they're both exchanging notes and feel like Jamie's in trouble. So it's like, Jay literally did nothing to stop me from going home, and Euro, which is funny, which is basically, hey, Jay and I aren't that close, so you don't need to worry about us. But the thing is that I'm not worried about their relationship. I'm strictly going on just the quality of connection that I'm making with folks. So, let's see here. So this is kind of a perfect, just little microcosm of Jamie and I. So we're talking about the secret board, and Jamie's saying it was apparently the same thing where you guessed numbers. I said, oh. He said it was very easy, I suppose, which I don't really know what that means, but okay. But I feel like matching energy, just kind of looking for anything to say here. And then he confirms that girl was in there first. And I said, well, go girl, Slay King, which is like the most benign comment ever. And bless his heart, he just says, LOL, that's so funny, LOL. And I just say LMAO. And it doesn't really go anywhere for the next 15 minutes until we start talking about our day. So yeah, all of that's to say, I feel like that's my new friend. My new phrase is all of that's to say. I think that Spyro thinks that the only reason that Quilava would be targeted here over Dry Bones and Crash is because Spyro and Quilava are husbands. But really, that is not a factor for me. It's just the quality of conversation. I have a better just working relationship with Dry Bones. Dry Bones trusts me and will talk hella game with me. And then Crash is just more of an engaging conversationalist over text. So I feel like if anything, the reason that I don't really want Quilava to go this round is because I'm trying to manage Spyro's feelings. And that's why I feel like there are no good alternatives aside from Crash, who would probably, in my perfect world, be my second boot here. So I'm going to put him in okay because, like I said, I like him. He's making a good effort with me. I don't think that on a normal tribe with normal social kind of variance that Crash would be in the talks for a vote, but I think that's just where I'm at based on just everything. And I don't even know if that's going to happen because I feel like there's going to be some movement. And so yeah. I'm going to put myself in perfect, of course, because I'm perfect. I'm absolutely not perfect, actually. I feel so messy right now with all these moving parts, but yeah. Dry Bones is somebody who I really enjoy as a human, but I think he's struggling with some of the other folks on this tribe. I don't think that Spyro and Aerith are connecting with him as much. And so it's tough because Dry Bones has given me a lot of good information, has been one of the first people to really feel comfortable talking strategy with me. He mentioned that he would maybe want to form a 5-person group with himself, Quilava, Aerith, Spyro, and I, which I think would probably be short-sighted to do, so I'm glad we haven't done that yet. Yeah. Based on the fact that I'm worried that he's going to have eyes on him potentially even this round, I'm going to put Bones in really great, but I do really love him, and I'm trying to make it so it's not him here. Conquer is blowing up my DMs. Should we see what he has to say, chat? It's probably just about the movie he's going to see with his daughter. Okay, so I said I feel like an elderly woman and my hard-partying granddaughter, Aerith, Smuck. So Conquer and I have this inside joke because I had a traumatic brain injury when I was in my late 20s, and if anybody knows what a TBI is, it's essentially like a trauma-induced stroke in a lot of ways. I basically had to learn to walk again. I still don't have fine motor function in my left hand, so basically I'm a henpecker when it comes to typing. So a lot of times I'll hit the M instead of the N on my keyboard. So instead of, like, for example, the word friend, it'll become fremd. So sometimes I just pepper in the M typos with Conquer, because it's kind of become our inside joke. Yeah. Let's see. And then reply with older woman. And I'll come back to you, Chonks, I promise. Okay. Back to this. We're going to say that Quilava is a pleasant and fine because I truly have nothing against Jamie. It's just that based on the social star power of this group, I'm connecting with him the least, the most surface level in conversations. And I feel bad saying that because he's making an effort. He's messaging me a lot. It's just not hitting the way that I think it needs to. And I feel like part of that is because, unfortunately, DB has been a little bit messy. So this brings us to kind of Spyro, who is Jay, who is one of my really good org friends outside of this. Basically, when we first got to this tribe, Zag had asked me if Spyro and Quilava were still together. He apparently also asked Aerith this, who said, well, not only are they still together, they are married, sir. Nothing that Zag had really said to me in that initial stage made me feel like he was going to use that information to make a hard push for one of them to go. But I think, unfortunately, he also maybe mentioned this to Drybones, who has passed that information on to Quilava and Spyro in such a way that I think they're feeling targeted as a result. And I don't know if that's because Zag has actually said that Spyro and Quilava need to be watched out for because of their relationship, or if it's just Drybones kind of interpreting that a certain way and maybe running with it. He mentioned it to Quilava that Zag is concerned about them, and that coupled with the fact that I think Zag has not been the most invested in his conversations with Quilava has made this a thing that it probably didn't need to be. And so, yeah. So basically yesterday, Spyro came to me, and I want to just bring it up. So it's fine now, but basically he said, my gosh, I talk so much, y'all. Like, we're only at 7:30 p.m. and now, when did he ask me? I feel like it was like 4 or 5. Maybe even earlier. Okay, here we go. It was at 3:30 p.m. Wow. So we were talking about the stuff at 2:30 about the boss keys, and then Spyro came to me and was like, hi, and I'm like, oh my gosh, not a hi with a bunch of eyes, like this is gonna be some serious stuff. So I told Spyro that I would like read their draft for the FTC that they're at. But basically, this is the nitty gritty. Spyro says, actually, I have a game question for you because it's been brought to Quilava and Mai's attention that apparently Zag has made comments about being worried about us as a duo. So he's asking if a crash vote is just a red herring or if there's already a move to vote against them. Then he said, because if there is, that's fair play, but he'll be naming every pre-existing game relationship at Trival if it's going to be a thing. Smiley face. That feels a little passive aggressive, right? And I mean, that's Jay. You know, he's gonna be bold and a little bit, you know, have a little bit of dramatic flair sometimes if he's feeling a certain way. So it's fine. I don't think it was necessarily a direct like threat to call me out in tribal, but I just was honest with him and I said, no, that there's no move and that I haven't heard, which is true, that Zag is worried. Um, so then he kind of calmed down and just was confiding in me that he thinks it's unfair that they're being targeted because they're a couple. But I mean, all just going back to what I said earlier, I really don't feel like they're being targeted, at least from my perspective, because they're a couple. I feel like Quilava is just being targeted because he's in a tough spot on a really socially savvy tribe. Um, yeah. So anyway, I think it'll be fine, but I'm just a little bit concerned. Also, another thing is that he brought up a crash vote as if it's been something that was set in stone from early on, and I don't necessarily agree with that. Um, so I just get nervous because I feel like now there may be a move to try and save Crash over Dry Bones, and that just makes me nervous because I don't want it getting back to Crash that maybe there's been like a long plan to get Crash out if Crash is going to stay. So based on that, I feel really good about Jay, but I'm going to put him in really great right now. And then that leaves Zag, who is great too. I think out of I think that I think Zag is dialed in. So that is really good because I think this has been commented on, but when Zag is with you, he's really with you. He's proactive, he's in your DMs. Zag's the one that created the alliance chat between Conquer, Aerith, and I, and himself. So I think he's locked in with us. I think that Conquer and Zag are open to voting out Crash first, which is my choice. But I'm just a little bit worried because last night Spyro was also just, I guess, planting seeds seemingly about how he feels like Dry Bones is really strategic. And, well, yes, I mean, that's true. I just know that Spyro and Aerith are not connecting with Dry Bones the way that I am, maybe. And so it's just a little bit ironic to me that I feel like I'm bending over backwards to make Spyro feel fine because I am willing to not vote Quilava, even though Quilava would be the vote for me in any other scenario right now. So when we pivot and we don't target Quilava, even though it's, from my perspective, completely unrelated to the fact that he's Spyro's husband, and we say, hey, Crash is another person that maybe has not connected as much with some of us. What does Spyro do? Suddenly, when presented with an alternative to Quilava, he kind of starts to feel like he doesn't want Crash to go, that he wants Dry Bones to go instead. So it's just like, I mean, we'll see what happens here. Maybe he's just kind of planting seeds for later. I do think that I'm not going to be able to stave off a Dry Bones vote for too long, but I do think that getting rid of Crash now clips a player that could be utilized better by some of the other people on this tribe in the future. I feel like Dry Bones and Quilava are going to be votes that are easier to get behind going forward. So I still want to Crash boot, but we'll see what happens today. This tribe is just, gosh, a lot right now. So we'll see, y'all. There's still about 10 hours to go until the vote. But as of right now, I think it's going to be a Crash vote with an outside chance of maybe Dry Bones. So we'll see what happens. It's Battle Royale, so Keep it in pencil, y'all. Dixie out.